Hi, and thanks for joining us again. My name is Jayme Flowers, and today's topic is fat. And I know what you're thinking. Fat is bad, right? She's going to tell us to not eat fat. Actually, wrong. Our bodies need fat, and that's because every cell in our body is made up of a membrane surrounding it that's made up of fat. So if we aren't giving it good fats, those cells can't repair themselves and they can't function the way that they're supposed to. And in fact, over 60% of our brains are made up of fat. So kids need fat in their diet to help them learn. Adults need fat in their diet to help keep their brains nice and healthy as they age. So there's really two types of fat, healthy and unhealthy. So we're gonna dive into this and really distinguish between the two of them. So first we have healthy fats. And you may hear that at times, oh, you need more healthy fats in your diet. And you may think, what are they? Well, healthy fats are from nature. They're as unprocessed and as raw as possible. Fats do not like to be heated all that much. So the more you can get them in just a natural state, the better. So we have, first of our healthy fats, we have unsaturated fats. So unsaturated fats are things like avocados, olive oil, nuts, seeds, fish, and even my favorite, dark chocolate. So these are all these healthy fats that you hear that should be incorporated into your diet. Then we have another type of fat, and it's called saturated fat. Now, saturated fats, you may hear everyone say, don't eat them. Well, our bodies need some saturated fat. It really just starts to depend on where you're getting your saturated fats from. So something like coconut milk, coconut oil, lean meats, dairy, eggs especially, these are saturated fats that are also really chock full of other vitamins and minerals and can really be a part of a healthy diet. When you talk about saturated fats maybe to avoid, maybe things like bacon, ribs, fatty cuts of meat, that excess saturated fat that is really high temperature cooked, those fats probably you want to avoid. So let's move on to unhealthy fats, because this is where we need to make some changes. So unhealthy fats are man-made fats, and they're overcooked fats if they're not man-made. So we'll take fried foods, for example. So fried foods mostly are coming from restaurants, frozen foods, microwaved foods, and the oil that they're cooked in can sometimes sit for weeks being reheated, cooled, and just food cooked in it over and over again. And that becomes really important because we talked earlier about natural healthy fats and how you want to get them in that raw state, like raw nuts, raw seeds, dairy, eggs, things, excuse me, more in their natural state. When you're talking about fried foods in that oil, what happens is the oil becomes, here's our other word of the day, what's called oxidized. Now when oils become oxidized, this is where they start to become a problem. Because when oxidized oils come into our bodies, two things happen. One, oxidized oils are inflammatory foods. So they start irritating our body. They lead to things like blood vessel damage, insulin, blood sugar issues, anything that's causing inflammation, cardiovascular disease, all of these things, excuse me, can be caused by oxidized fats. The other thing that happens is when we take in oxidized fats, our body tries really, really hard to neutralize them because it knows they are not good for us. And to do that, your body has to take the antioxidants that it has and try and counterbalance these oxidized fats, which means your body now has less antioxidants to fight other damage. So these fried foods and these oxidized oils are really something to try and steer clear of. Not always, obviously, but as much as possible. But the other fat that I want to talk about is called trans fat. And this is an absolutely man-made, used in processed foods fat. And what it does is it makes foods more shelf stable, so they can sit on the shelves longer. They're used a lot in frozen foods as a preservative. And now you may have heard of trans fats because there is a big push to reduce them, and they have been reduced. But food companies can now write 0 grams per serving if in fact it still contains up to 1/2 gram per serving. Doesn't seem like a lot, right? However, when you're talking about trans fats, even in small amounts, because they are this chemically altered fat, they cause a lot of issues in our body. They can lead to atherosclerosis, they can increase cholesterol levels, and again, they're really an inflammatory food. So what you want to look for on a label is where it says partially hydrogenized oils. When you see that on a label, no matter what it says on the nutrition facts of 0 grams per serving, it contains trans fat. And trans fat is not one of those things that you want to limit. It's one of those things you really want to avoid, period. And so that's going to lead us into a quick talk on one of my favorite topics, which is low fat and fat free. When you see low fat and fat free, this means you really need to pay attention to these food labels, because in order to take the fat out, which gives it this mouthfeel and this creaminess, a lot is added back in, and those things are sugar, chemicals, and fillers. So really read the food labels and take something that's whole fat and something that's non-fat and really compare the two of them and look how many more chemicals are in the non-fat. So for our first recipe we're going to do here today is we're going to take something that is full fat, and what I have here is just some full fat Greek yogurt, and we're going to make a recipe that you can use instead of like a light ranch, because if you look at light ranch you're going to see a whole lot of chemicals in there. So we're going to take this tangy Greek yogurt, and what we're going to add to it first are some green onions, both the whites and the green parts of them. Then here I have some herbs. Here I have parsley and rosemary. These can absolutely just be dried herbs to put in here. And then I'm gonna take some lemon juice. I'm gonna mix all of this up. And this creates this great tangy, herby dressing that kids can use for their vegetables. You can use it as a sandwich spread, you can use it as a salad dressing, whatever you'd like. So, how to get more healthy fats into your diet? Nice, easy ways. First, if you're able to eat them, chopped nuts and seeds on top of your food. You make a salad, throw some nuts on it. You have some yogurt, throw some nuts on it. Cereal, even chicken or pork or whatever, you can sprinkle nuts on top of that. Add sliced avocados to everything, because they're delicious. Take olive oil and drizzle on top of veggies, even after you cook them. Again, that means it's uncooked. It's gonna have all of the healthy fat properties that you're looking for. You just drizzle it right over after you cook with it, or excuse me, after you cook your vegetables. Using whole milk yogurt, just like we did, not only for dip, it can be used for, like I said, salad dressing. You can put it into your blender and make a great vegetable smoothie with it. Use dark chocolate as a dessert instead of maybe a frozen, pre-made processed dessert. And keep hard-boiled eggs in your refrigerator. Great, easy snack. Take with you on the go. Take it for lunch. Give it to your kids. It's great. So our last recipe that we're going to do here is just to sort of highlight avocado and olive oil. So what I have here is just some frozen corn. Now I'm going to add to it some chopped onion, some nice chopped avocado here, and some cilantro. I'm going to mix all of this together, nice and easy. You can see this takes less than 30 seconds to make. I'm going to add in some salt. If you've watched the salt video, this is our good pink Himalayan salt here. Super tasty. Then I'm going to add some cumin. Cumin is a great spice to make it like this southwestern taste to it here. And then I'm going to add my olive oil. Nice, raw, healthy fats going on here. And I'm going to top this off, of course, with some fresh lime juice. Now the cilantro here can again be dried, not an issue. And here you have this great corn salsa. Eat it with chips. Again, put it into a tortilla, put it on a sandwich. Adding healthy fats into your diet can be so easy and so incredibly tasty. I hope you learned something, and I hope you join us next time.